Hello and welcome everyone, it is me, the Laval, also known as the Power To-Do List, back for you with another video, and I am just looking for opportunities to talk about Dinomorphia. Had an absolutely amazing match last week against a very nice opponent on B-Troopers. Kind of wanted to share that as I currently have no idea when the last of my singles will get here to kind of show that deck in paper, but I think showing it digitally first with a really nice match is also a good start. So I'll see you guys when we get into that replay. And with that, we are moving into the game one we had. You see my opener is quite solid. I do have the Pot of Duality here to dig for an additional card in hand, which will be a Solemn Judgment. I will normal summon the Theresia, trying to get a domain into my hand, which will be met with an Imperm, which is one of the two main responses you have to that. I will continue to set 4 cards and pass my turn. I see him on the Scout Buggy, which initially just absolutely good vibes, because I also really like that deck. Definitely need to pick that up at one point as well. Buggy will be solemned. He doesn't have a lot of follow-up play at the moment, which is why he will just set a monster. The Retaliating Sea will grab a Resonance Insect, which is a very scary card for that deck. But with the 2 Theresias now on board, I am able to make an Evolza Dolka and fire a domain in end phase for Kentregina, which basically puts me already in a really good position. He will set another Resonance Insect. I will Dolka negate that, punch him for 423 with that Dolka. And at this point, he has a lot of resources at his disposal, so he will try to make a play. Banishing 2 insects for that Doom Dozer there, triggering the Resonance Insect, which will again be met with Dolka's effect. He fires a B-Trooper Descent here to pop my back row, which will be answered by a Dinomorphia Sonic. Kentregina will float into Theresia. I will resolve a domain later for Stealth Begia. He will try to burn me for game with a pin, which is a bit sneaky. But I can just banish a domain to prevent me from taking effect damage. And with that, I close out game 1 on 63 life points left. So let's look at game 2, shall we? Game 2 definitely didn't start as well for me as game 1. Looking at 2 Effect Veilers here and the one of Flower Dino I am currently testing with, as it does sound very nice in theory for the deck. Being able to special summon itself if your opponent activates a spell, or you activate a trap, and then also being able to recycle spells and traps upon leaving the field. He will go off on his B-Trooper combos, ending here on a Verte Anaconda, which dumps a Red Eyes Fusion, which is a very scary prospect for me, because this deck really struggles to deal with Dragoon, being mostly focused on destruction as removal. The Theresia will be met with the Fly and Sting he searched earlier of the Sting Lancer. I will have to hit the Verte Anaconda here again, putting that Flower Dino onto the board. Will Solemn Judgment as access code talker though, but he still has a lot of resources to work with, namely the B-Trooper Armorhorn in his graveyard. With the Retaliating Sea, he is able to make a Seraphim Papillon, which grabs him. The Retaliating Sea grabs him a Resonance Insect, and the Papillon will be able to easily revive an insect from his graveyard for additional advantage, which on his turn he can easily normal summon the Resonance Insect, summon Scale Bomber from his hand because an insect hit the board, make Invincible Atlas, make Armorhorn, and just kind of go off on everything. He will shuffle back 3 for the Invincible for the, I think it's Mighty Neptune, is it? Put some more insects on the board and close out this second game. And yeah, as mentioned, there's a third one to this, so let's get into that. Well, and we have reached game 3, and what a game 3 it will be. Up until this point, I really felt very good about this match, outside of like that one torrential game 2, which was very suboptimal, I might say, in in hindsight. He will Ash the Diplos here, which is kind of sad, because this way I cannot get a Theresia into rotation. He opens double Cosmic Cyclone, which is quite scary, banishing a Sonic and a Brute from my side of the field, but I still have the Infinite Impermanence left to negate his Sting the Poison. I go for normal summon Diplos again here, dumping a Theresia, because I really want to get that into rotation. Just punch him here, don't make the Dolka, so I still have the opportunity to float into Theresia. He will just go ahead and pass his turn. I will just punch again for 2k, pass back the turn. set the Torrential here that I drew. He is going to normal summon a Resonance Insect. Oh, might need to correct myself because that Torrential was not in game 2, that was in this game 3. Because this Torrential will screw me over quite nicely. Because I try to use the Diplo Seal effect to get a Theresia onto my board, which he will just answer with his Sting Lancer to put Theresia back into my deck. I will Effect Veiler the Sting Lancer here. To kind of prevent him from getting Fly and Sting into rotation, which is a very scary card because I do not want to play through many interactions. The main advantage I have in this matchup is that his deck really struggles against back row. He will punch for a solid bit of damage, making Invincible Atlas in the second main phase, getting a Scout Buggy onto the board, which will summon another copy of itself to make Cicada King for a very easy monster negate. I top deck into Alert, which is probably one of the best top decks I could have gotten in that entire situation. He will just swap the Cicada King into attack to get another insect onto the board, triggering the Invincible Atlas here to grab Sting Lancer for a Fly and Sting, and the Goki Pole he just sent will grab him an Arbalest for follow-up play. On attack declaration, I will flip the Alert to revive 2 copies of Diplos from my graveyard, one of them dumping a Theresia here. And on Destruction floating. Theresia will grab me a domain because this is the only way I am winning this match anymore. And he will run over the other Diplos here. Yeah, and this game ends in a very kind of straightforward fashion. I just domain into Kentregina, and because Kentregina is rather large when, you know, your life points are low, as you can see 36-25 attack points on her, I can just punch over his Cicada King for game. Absolutely insane match. Opponent was very nice, as mentioned before. So we definitely had some good vibes. It was great, honestly. Really a lot of back and forth between 2 decks I really enjoy. And yeah, I was very happy to win out on this one, even if I wouldn't have been mad if I lost that one after that terrible Torrential in game 3. But yeah, I think we can take a quick look at the deck list I played, so you have a rough idea what I'm currently working with before I show you that deck in paper at one point. And yeah, this is the list I was playing in that match and the list I am currently working on IRL. Just lacking the 3 domain at the moment. Kind of to quickly run this down. Theresia is basically your main deck searcher on normal or special. She will set a Dinomorphia trap from your deck. Gaining a bit of attack if you're on low life points, and also being able to, just like her counterpart Diplos, floating into another level 4 lower Dinomorphia on being destroyed by banishing a trap. Diplos is basically an archetypal Armageddon Knight that burns while you're on lower life points. The Flower Dino, as mentioned before, is just a very neat way to get an additional body on the board if you activate a trap, and also if it leaves the field you can use this to recycle some of your banished traps, either for the floating effects of your level 4s, or because you banish the traps to prevent yourself from taking damage. The Effect Veiler here. You are easily able to swap this out for any hand trap you like. I just have Effect Veilers lying around, so I took those. But these could also be Ash Blossoms or something more impactful. In terms of consistency, I'm on 2 Fossil Dig, 2 Duality. I found myself breaking on 3 Fossil Dig and 3 Duality a lot when I was playing that. I saw these ratios in an OCG list, and in testing it wasn't too terrible, honestly, because you're still working with essentially 5 copies of each main deck monster. On top of the fact that you still have the 3 domains, which is like the main card you want to get to. So this is perfectly fine at the moment for me, but I can definitely understand why people run 3. The one Caught by the Grave, this deck really hates hand traps because a single Ash Blossom can just end your entire career on the domain. So you want to have as much answers to those as possible. Cross-off Designator isn't really good in this, as you are lacking that space. 3 Infinite Impermanence, just as another good generic staple hand trap or trap in general. Dinomorphia Domain, this is your fusion trap. You, just like basically any Dinomorphia trap card, pay half your life points to fusion summon a Dinomorphia fusion using materials from hand, deck, or field. And just like any Dinomorphia normal trap, you can use this on low life to protect yourself from effect damage. Alert summons up to 2 Dinomorphias from graveyard for half of your life points whose levels equal 8 or less. They can't attack and you're locked into Dinomorphias for the turn. Also the effect damage protection, just like Domain. Torrential Tribute's just a very neat trap card in general and has some great synergy because most of your monsters, basically every Dinomorphia monster, floats on Destruction. Trap Trick as card number 40, 3 Brutes. This is a non-targeting pop. for half your life points. It destroys the Dinomorphia and a card your opponent controls on resolution, and also has, just like any normal trap, the effect damage protection. Reversion is a Dinomorphia counter trap while you control a fusion, a Dinomorphia fusion. You pay half your life points, banish a counter trap, and copy that counter trap's effect, which is very nice to copy generic counter traps such as Solemn Strike and Solemn Judgment. Also, like the other Dinomorphia counter traps, you can banish this on low life to protect yourself from battle damage once. Solemn Strike, Solemn Judgment, these are kind of mandatory in the deck, especially because Solemn Strike is another answer to hand traps. Dinomorphia Sonic is your basically archetypal spell and trap negator. That also pops a Dinomorphia on resolution, which enables you to float into these, resolve their effects an additional time on the opponent's turn to kind of keep your engine going. Kentregina is absolutely amazing. This is, yeah, I am down bad, but I'm not even gonna hide it. Besides being best girl, she is a rather large beat stick when you're on low life. And in the main phase, she is able to quick effect, pay half your life points, banish a Dinomorphia normal trap to copy that trap's effect, which not only gives you easily more extensions if banishing domain or alert, or interruptions if you are banishing a brute. Just like the main deck monsters, she also floats, but she doesn't have to banish a trap to do so. Stealth Begia is another really neat fusion you have. When you're on low life, you don't need to pay life points to activate trap cards or Dinomorphia effects, which is, the trap card part is generic, so you don't need to pay for strike, which is kind of nice. He burns your opponent for a monster that has activated its effects attack points, which is nice, and also floats just like Kentregina into a level 4 or lower Dinomorphia. Playing some super poly targets and a solid bit of the rank 4 toolbox, alongside Lagia and Dolka, which are two very powerful rank 4s you can make because you're playing a dinosaur deck. Closing out the extra deck is a the Dark Charmer Umbral. Just because this is insanely powerful, you can easily make this because most of your monsters are darks, and yoinking a DPE is quite nice. Side deck, just basically more stuff to make this going second able. Gadala, the Mystery Dust Kaiju, and Pancratops are quite nice. The Feather Duster also. Trip is super poly. I'm citing this. You can probably main deck this, but I think the side deck works perfectly fine for it. Heavy Storm Duster against other back row decks. D-Barrier for being D-Barrier, I guess. And Red Reboot is also a very nice card that this deck can take full advantage of due to it paying half your life points and, you know, being very good against other back row decks. So yeah, with all that out of the way, I think this is a very solid looking deck. And yeah, let me know down below what you think of this deck, because I will be playing a lot of this going into the coming format, as I think it is a lot of fun, and I think the low life point gimmick is just very cool. So yeah, I will thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys again next time, but until then, goodbye.